You can't really do dialogue, but you can do the internal dialogue or internal monologue. But certainly, you can do dialogue. So, like Tony, you're writing about a party being broken up by cops. I think it's probably pretty loud in that house at that moment, right? Probably there's still music playing, right? And there are probably people muttering and swearing and running and footballs, you know, like people trying to escape doors slamming, other people like sort of freezing, but the music's still pounding. Like I want to hear all that too, you know? So not just dialogue, but the other sounds, right? Okay. How many people are feeling like they're using metaphor already? Okay, did you just say too much?
Yeah, too much.
Okay, so Joseph, say a little bit more about how this is working for you. You say you're using it? Can you explain, again, everybody, we all use metaphor all the time, but when I say that, what do I mean? What am I talking
about? When describing something without describing it. Using something else to describe another object or thing.
Why would we even do that? Why can't you just say what it is? It makes it look interesting.
Think about being related to it. Relate.
Okay, Joseph, what's the best metaphor you have so far?
The best? Yes,
the most brilliant, witty, wonderful, you know, whatever. Or just the one you like the best.
The brake pedal looks like a wet noodle.
Okay, so take it it's not working so well?
Yes.
All right, so yeah, and did that lead to you endangering your limb in some way, or? Probably. Okay, so he says the brake pedal was like a wet noodle, and we all kind of have that moment of recognition. But Joseph had just said the brake pedal was not functional at that time. And sort of like, okay, you know, I understand what's happening, but I don't feel it, right?
You need a little bit of context.
Yeah. Yeah, like, and even if you're not a cyclist, you know what a wet noodle, you know that a brake pedal is a wet noodle is not a good thing, right? So yeah, metaphor is something we'll talk about more in a little bit, but it's the description of one thing as being like another thing, right? And we do this all the time. So, for instance, if you take our exam, and okay, no, let's not even envision people doing poorly on that one. Let's say you take a very difficult chemistry exam and you leave the room, and it was really hard, and maybe there was stuff on it you didn't expect, and you maybe didn't study as hard as you should have. What do you say when you leave the room?
I'm screwed.
Yes, I'm screwed. What else? I bombed it.
No.
Right.
Say a prayer.
Say a prayer. All right. So this is all metaphorical use of language, right? So if you say I'm screwed, someone understands what you mean more than if you say, I performed poorly on that test and I will certainly suffer the consequences, right? You know, like I'm screwed. Say a prayer. I bombed it, right? I ate it, I bit it. You know, all those things. That's all, you're not eating something or biting something. It's all metaphorical use of language. Yeah.
You're saying something like talk is a stone, that's like a metaphor.
Yeah. So and there are some that are sort of like burned into our brains and almost are cliches, but some of them really work. I don't know, you know how like when people say love is hell, you know, when it captures something for people, instead of saying love can be wonderful and also difficult. You know, like you say love is sweet, love is hell. Like we talk in all that, like even if people talk about an iPod, why is it a pod? No, it's not just a thing. Somebody made a lot of money coming up with that. Yeah. A pod is a very small carrying mechanism. that has perhaps thousands or millions of things packed into it. A seed pod, an egg pod, right? So this is marketing. Metaphor is marketing in this particular thing. So somebody is saying, you know, let's think of something that captures this, and it's so cool. It's almost like a miracle of nature that you could have something that small that carries, I don't know how many songs an iPod can carry, but it's amazing. You know, our parents or grandparents' generation that can even happen. So yeah, it's a metaphor for, you know, pod, as Audra is saying. So when people talk about there are all kinds of food metaphors, you know, like if people say that idea is half-baked. I was a little fried after that long night, you know, like it's not an egg, it's not cookies, you know, but people have, it's metaphor makes things relatable to us. And that's what you're trying to do with this essay, you know. I had a student once who took this class with me and some others, and she loved writing. She liked this kind of writing. I think like the more research stuff is challenging for her in a way that she would totally enjoy. But for narrative stuff, where she was trying to bring people's emotions into play and get people hooked on her story, she loved it. She had a job as a security guard at a mall, and she said whenever there was an incident, she was supposed to write down in a super factual way, like what happened, like suspect seemed to be shoplifting, so you know, and then she would have like, you know, like descriptions of the trench coat and the look in his beady eyes, and she'd be using metaphor of description and sounds, and she's like, I can't, I just got so into the writing in the class and the sort of making stuff come to life, but now I'm in trouble at my job because I'm supposed to write a paragraph and I'm turning in like 3 pages of description. And I was like, well, not so good for your job, but great for a class, right? Okay, so I would like you guys to partner up with somebody who you don't always partner up with, because you know what happens then is that people go like, yeah, that's good, or they go, oh, you're really fast, we're done. 30 seconds later, right? So train with somebody that you aren't totally familiar with. It doesn't mean you're going to have to go on an ocean cruise with this person. It's like 10 minutes of your life. Okay, so somebody different from who you normally partner up with, and have them look at your core mold. Okay, so we're just going to do that for a little bit. Like, not the intro. You might need to give people a little context. Like, oh, this happened, you know, because that's in your paper too, all that background information, right? So help them understand the context. And then for your partner's paper, I want you to underline anytime there's something that really brings stuff to life, you know? So this thing that, I'm just going to say your name a different way every time, that Helena is saying, that's the right way, I thought so. Okay, so when she says that there's this woman with a teacup and looking like the Queen of England, I would underline that and say, great use of metaphor. Technically, it's a simile if there are any future English majors in here, but it's metaphorical language. So I would write something like, that's a really good metaphor. That brings it to life for me, instead of, she was intimidating and I felt small. You know, we get that from her description. So go through and pick out things like, okay, good use of dialogue, just write in the margins, good use of metaphor, and also places where things get a little flat. Do you guys know that expression, when your interest flags? Yeah, so Ben, what does that even mean?
It's like, you're just not wanting to pay much attention to it.
Yeah, and it happens for me as a teacher. I'm kind of like, oh, I feel the energy kind of like going, and I don't know if it's me or them, it's probably both, you know. So like someone's interest flags when they're reading. Like for my interest, when I'm reading a novel, if I feel my interest flagging too much and I'm kind of like, oh, maybe there's something good to snack on. Maybe I got a text in the last 2 minutes, you know, like if you start having those kinds of thoughts, it's not unkind to say to someone for a rough draft, like, it's a little drier here, you know, slows down a little bit here. So make at least 5 suggestions or comments. Just write on the margins. Great metaphor, great description, good use of dialogue. Things a little flat here, you know, so people can sort of know where it's working and where it's not. Okay, so core moment only, trade with somebody, and I'm going to come through and collect the actual essays so that I can partner people up for peer review. And you guys know we do peer review. I know that things could people write about personal stuff. I'm assuming people are fine with doing the peer review if you're giving me your paper. And staple here. But yeah, I'll come around and get the full length paper, and you guys help each other out with the formal. You're going to have to browse yourself.